Welcome to another episode of Uncensored Daily Radar, where your fellow foiled friend scans the entire globe for what may or may not be artificial and nefarious activity. We go through satellite radar as well as the zippity zip zap radar, aka NEXRAD, to better understand atmospheric and environmental conditions in full context. Before we get started, there are a few things that you should know. Number one, I repeat, I am not a meteorologist, but I am a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, which obviously makes me far more qualified to analyze atmospheric conditions. Number two, videos are fairly short, but feel free to skip ahead to any section you're most interested in. And lastly, if you'd like to see these daily radar videos, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Otherwise, this video is about to reach a paywall, and we'll pause right now. Now. Okay. All right, let's get started.
Good evening, and it's January 30th, about 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get started. You know, it's funny, I started the show at a couple of hours ago, but then I ran into a hard drive issue. And I was like, that's crazy, because I just emptied my hard drive like 4 weeks ago. I just emptied my whole computer like 4 weeks ago. But no, it's filled up again, because every one of these episodes is like at least 5 gigs. And I do other content. So, and then I tried to transfer everything off onto my big backup hard drives, which those take up to like 6 to 10 terabytes, depending on which one what I'm using. And those are officially filled up from the last year of doing these shows. So I got to get some more hard drives. And then I started filming, and then I was like, oh, I'm thirsty. 2 minutes in. So I paused it, went downstairs, completely forgot that I was going to get water because I noticed some little things that needed to get done. So I ended up doing laundry, feeding my cats, feeding my dogs. Actually, several different things related to the laundry that I did, putting away. I emptied out the dishwasher. I did dishes. I wiped down a bunch of things. Anyway, and then I was like, wait a minute, I was filming a show. I had already hit start. So anyway, I'm starting over because I don't remember where I was. I think, honestly, because it was only a couple minutes in that I paused it, I'm pretty sure I was just telling you guys about my hard drive situation. Alrighty then. So we already talked about, shut off if you got night shift on, if you have the red filter turned on. I know I normally have mine turned all the way up. Not all the way, like 90%. I'm not a psycho. Just kidding. But seriously though, if you have it turned all the way up, everything is completely red and black. But if you turn it down just a little bit, you can see some shading. So I turned it off. All right, and I have this set to show me. All right.
And remember, every single glow you see here is a NEXRAD radar station. The official statement is that it's just simply Doppler radar helping us track weather systems and give us forecasts, things like that. The conspiracy theory is that these towers are equipped with technology to allow us to manipulate the weather in various ways, one of those ways being that it can microwave certain areas of the atmosphere to the point of creating high levels of heat, which can cause heat waves, excessive drought. Of course, you can also, by creating massive temperature swings, you can create severe winds. And also, by creating a heated area like that, you can create a high pressure zone. High pressure zones deter low pressure systems, aka storms. So if a storm is traveling, like let's say it would have normally gone like here, well, you can put a bunch of high pressure zones up here, or like a big high pressure zone here, and it would have gone up, but instead it's gonna do this. And then you could even put a high pressure zone here, and then it would be encouraged to do that. You could also surround it. Theoretically, this is all theoretical, conspiratorially theoretical.
Yeah, that's nuts. We talked about that last night. Just seeing. Ugh. Wait, hold on. Did we talk about that, though? No, that's, that was after I did my show. We had seen this, and it stopped right as I was filming. Well, in the middle of me filming, it was doing this. And by the time I was finished with the show, it was like this. So this came after. And my commercial pilot friend sent me pictures again. So he's picking this up a lot. And to him, it's not normal. Doesn't look like normal radar to him. Yeah, and then Southern California is doing some stuff. Lots of glows coming on over here. Around sunrise, as usual. Ooh, lots of trails mixed in there, I can tell. Probably mixed in here, but it's definitely more obvious over here. All right, I've scanned. Let's hit play. This one's been beaming down nonstop for a while. This is definitely more activity down here than normal. Southern California, this is the only place that zip zaps 100% of the time. It's always doing this. It's the only place in the country that does that. It's literally nonstop. But there's more activity in the last 48 hours over Southern California than I'm used to seeing, especially this tower here. This one's been beaming up into Las Vegas quite a bit, which corresponds with the unusual tower activity right here in northern Nevada. So this one's beaming up into Las Vegas. This one's beaming all frickin' over the place. I do notice this one's kind of all over the place, but this one I think is targeted that way. Or south at least. Yeah, that's only south. It's not, that tower isn't going north. And even this one is more active this way. So maybe there's something going on right here, because this is going up. This is going like that. This one's going like that. This one's kind of going a bunch of places, but the one thing they all have in common is this area here in central Nevada. That if we were to suggest that their intersection is somehow a clue to the target area. Now this is predictable because they were doing it at the same times. Even this time, actually, this one right here, I believe it was happening around this time 2 days ago or 3 days ago. And but not tonight. I do wonder about the weekends with these people. Where's my phone? I believe I took notes on the times. Remember when I whipped out my phone? I'm going to pause this and see. No, I was writing the earthquakes. That's what I was taking notes on. All right, well. It's around 2100. And what, 500 or 4? Let's say like 4:30, because that's like in the middle ish. UTC or Zulu. Today is post sicky shower day. Probably too much information, but I was sick, just not going anywhere. And I didn't, I gotta wash my bed sheets. I'm gonna wash my hair, get all the sicky stuff off of me. I'm very excited because showers are nice. Don't mind me. I just like the heat. You know how it's like known that women just love super hot? I mean, to me, it's not super hot. To me, it's great. But I know men, like the jacuzzi or whatever you set it to, it's always more hot for them than it is for the woman. Women apparently can withstand heat better. Better? They can withstand heat better. And we have a higher tolerance for temperature. All right, let's zoom on in. The sicky brain fog is significantly better. but not totally improved, as you can probably tell. This one just does that. What is the time frame set to? All right. I don't know what this is about, man. We'll see. We'll see if any strange, unusual, you know, fires or extreme winds, or if there's something going on with the fog. This whole area is acting abnormally. Look at that. That one's beaming out that way. This one's going up. I'm not used to seeing those towers do much of anything, really. And then this is probably 50%, maybe 100% higher than normal. Obviously, that's crazy. And remember, out here we do have that storm that's bringing a lot of issues to this area. Yeah, this whole area looks weird with looks like consistent radial pulses, but more mild looking. There's definitely trails mixed in here. You know, it's funny though, I'm not really seeing. Now that one's zip-zapping down constantly, but it's probably because there is a storm right here. The wind's moving this way. And then this whole area is just kind of glowing. Wait, what? All right, I guess I'll do that. Radial blooms coming. No, it's not radial pulses. This is something else. I saw the radial pulse just then around sunrise, but I'm surprised I'm not seeing more. Oh, whoops. This area is still glowing non-stop. Yet to find a correlation with any of the maps that we use. Looks like there's trails coming in from Mexico. Looks like there's probably trails mixed in here too. All right, let's jump into trails. We've got 40-minute intervals going for the last 24 hours. Definitely, you know, we talked about this last night. Many trails here in northern Mexico. Still going into 12 hours in. All these black lines are definitely trails left by aircraft. The altitude, you can tell the altitude based off color. Black being the highest, purple being the lowest. Pink is dust. Not seeing as many right now. There's some in here, but looks like most of it is over the US. South Florida's getting quite a few. Ooh, and earlier it was getting a lot in central and northern Florida, just all of Florida. All that haze. Ugh. Lots of trails up here in Canada. So many coming over. Nevada's loaded with them. California loaded with them. Wow. Well, that's interesting because it looks like they're starting off. Hold on. Well, that's confusing because it looks like they're starting off either black or dark green, dark greenish red. And then it looks a little bit purple here, which makes me think it's got some red in there. And it looks like it's dropping into the blue, but there's like, it doesn't even, there's no yellow. Lots of trails coming out over here too. Moving up north. And right now, the entire West Coast is a gross disaster. And everything. It's a big giant haze over here, I'm sure. Beep, beep. So many trails up here. Trails up here. Oh man, poor Canada. Oh, Canada. This is all haze. You can see the remnants of trails coming out. But you guys didn't even notice, but I actually got up in the middle of filming this when I was in Mexico, showing you Mexico, to swap the washing machine to the dryer and then other things into the washing machine. It's a laundry kind of day. Trails in here. I'm stuck in between fire and the sea. No matter which way I turn, I'd rather drown or get burned. Got a lot of trails up here too. Mm-hmm. It's so weird seeing everything move in the opposite direction. Like, this is how it normally goes. But everything's going this way. Trails. There's Greenland. Soon to be America land. How do you guys feel about that, by the way? If it were really warm along the coastline, be a nice little vacation spot. But everything's too cold. That's why like nobody lives there. – 50,000 people isn't nobody. But still, that's like very little. Very small amount of people. Especially when you consider the landmass. It's huge. So many trails. Moving all through here. Guys, there's just a lot of trails in general. All over the place. And these are really thick looking too. Really thick looking. I do wonder what this looks like going into Africa. From the edge, these look thick. But if I recall, when I switch satellites, those same trails end up not looking so thick because there's warping on the edges. But I would think that that warping is stretching like east, not stretching north-south. So I gotta check that out. There's a contrail there for a minute. There and there. But very brief. There's a couple of them. They're on a really, really big monitor just for this show. Just so I can zoom in, but also see a lot. No matter which way I turn, I'd rather drown or get burned. Gets a couple of the trails heading to Chile and Argentina. You know when you eat a meal that's just like so satisfying because it's so flavorful, it also fills you up? That's how I feel. I made a awesome soup. So good. So much garlic. And I add my garlic in after the fact. That's a pro tip right there. All right, so we definitely have a lot. Okay, so these look like contrails. To me, right at this second. Could also just be a different brand. But these are left at different altitude. And look how quickly they're disappearing. Try to find these two. Try to find them. No. Look at that. They're left, gone, left, gone, left, gone. So faint. Now, unless the wind is moving super fast. If the wind is really powerful out here, then that could rip them apart. The ones left down here are questionable. But what are the odds, right? We would see contrails here, but chemtrails here. You would think they'd be the same. I don't know. These look like they're dropping in altitude. And I told you there's something weird going on with Cuba. Ever since a couple days before Maduro was captured, Cuba's been getting trails. And that's not normal for them. And Cuba and Venezuela have a relationship. So, yeah, ugh, man. California and Nevada. Tell you what, I used to live in California. When I was a kid, and I would travel there, I always thought it was the most perfect weather ever. And then I moved there for school. I started to see trails there. And I started to see more trails, over the couple of years. And then they just started getting rain all the time. And it was getting really cloudy much of the time. It was starting to get really humid. LA was usually pretty dry, sunny, the perfect weather all the time. And now, no, it's not. For like the last 10 years, it's not been perfect weather. It's been more humid, less sunny, temperature's not so predictable. Can you believe it's already about to be February? Ugh. What if the Earth is spinning faster than it used to, and we're all being made to believe that we're actually experiencing the same 24-hour clock that we used to experience back in like the 70s and 80s? But really, we're not. So like, what if someone who just turned 21 really is like 16 or 15? I don't know. Just curious why like 30-year-olds in the 70s look like 50-year-olds today. You may have seen that post. And it reminded me, and I looked it up. Seriously, those movies, those big famous movies we saw, where like the main characters looked like they were in their 50s, sometimes 60s. They were like 30 and 29 and 35. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so there's the other view of this. But seriously, though, if anyone really wanted to trick us into thinking that nothing's changed, all the clocks would just be, made to follow the slow change in the Earth's rotation. So we think we're experiencing a day, but we're not. Although that would really mess with sleep, because people think they're getting like 8 hours sleep. But what if... I don't know. Just weird thoughts. Probably unlikely. I already know how to test it. Just for fun, I just might. Yeah, so we have a lot of trails here. I'm not really seeing much. Okay, there's some 24 hours ago that were heading into Alaska and some over Alaska. But since... I suppose there are some here that are moving in from the south. There's a couple here, not as excessive as it was then. And then in this whole thing here, we've got trails. It's harder to see because it's got a bunch of different layers here. But line. There's a lot of faint lines. Line. So I'm sure there were studies conducted, right, in the 60s and 70s for how long it took for something to happen. Like, how long will this sized ice cube melt in these circumstances? And they wrote the time down. If you repeat the study, you can see how long it takes. If you repeat enough of those studies and you get consistently a certain percentage difference, then that would be a really good indicator that something's up with the Earth's rotation. We'll be gaslit into thinking we're older than we actually are. Oh my gosh, then we could be gaslit into thinking we're living longer than we actually are. I love this beautiful blue. only Australia can get this blue. And for most of the year, it's like this. I know kitty cats that have color eyes like this. Da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-dum. We saw... so there's a town here, or a country? Gosh, I don't even know yet. I think it's in Malaysia, but it's pronounced Pukno, spelled Phukno. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. But there's some trails here, and I'm not used to seeing them. Don't know yet if they're contrails or chemtrails. They don't last very long. And this whole area just kind of moves, which reminds me of how contrails would normally operate, because they would be left in certain conditions. So like, notice how they were getting left here, and then this kind of area moved up here, and so that area started getting more trails. Now, India for sure looks weird. Yesterday, it was looking weird. And all the wind's moving in the other direction. This is starting to look like it might be a problem. Yesterday didn't look so problematic. Didn't look like enough was going to happen. Now it's starting to look like something might happen. Maybe not over here. Maybe even not over India. Maybe it might be over here. So we'll have to watch for flooding in like China. I'm not familiar with the names of these areas. I should though. I know all these. Well, you know, these. Pakistan, Iran, Afghanistan, China, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Russia. All right, I'll stop. How do I move? Why isn't this? What the heck? Oh, great. It's all frozen now. Just got up again for the laundry. Yep, we got lots of trails up here in Russia. Looks like we have trails over here in Kazakhstan. And the trails from Russia are going down into Mongolia. See the trails over here. It looks like there's trails over here as well. Yeah, this is a lot for India. India does not get trails often. So when they get them, especially like this, it's weird. I would say it's better than... Remember when I was like, oh man, in the next 72 hours, there might be something really crazy coming out of India or China, or, you know, this general area. This is not looking like that yet. If this starts getting more intense, then I might just say that. Yeah, and some trails over here in the eastern portion. Now remember, Europe just got hit by a pretty intense storm, and I didn't actually know about that. I didn't know that they were going to get hit by one. I really need to look up some news. The problem is Europe is like smaller than the US, and all the countries have their own like separate weather stations. I wish there was like a giant weather service just for that region so I can see what the big news is. But they were getting a big storm, and I didn't know this, but that is the day we started seeing major glitches in this view. Europe totally restricts the view. Not the show, unfortunately. But actually, I'm just kidding. We don't restrict things just because we disagree with them, right? Europe does. I mean, yeah, for sure they would do that, but they agree with the view, so they won't do that. What? There's only 2 time slots available from the third. Hold on. And nothing since. We are blind. We are running blind, unfortunately. This is like just that. This is like morning, early morning today. And there's nothing since. Shame. Shame, shame, shame. Disgusting. There's no freaking way that this is just a coincidence. This happens all the frickin' time. Yeah, they were skipping like crazy, and then it froze. This is the last shot we have. Loads of trails heading in. Now, we did get a view, sort of what's heading over from the other satellite, right? We could see the edge of this. And yeah, loads of trails heading into Spain and Portugal. Looks like a lot of these are actually going into northern Africa. But again, this is like 12 hours old. These freaking people. So childish. It's like if you're in an argument on the phone and the other person hangs up. Childish. Just deal with it. You know what I mean? Just show us what you're doing and deal with it. I gotta say, though, not showing us is worse. Because then you just imagine the worst case scenario. Every time they shut this off before a big storm, everyone's just gonna assume, not everyone, just the people who know. All right, let's go through the weather warnings for the U.S. Now, remember, we are in the testing version of Windy. I don't think I like it very much because if I'm zoomed out this far, it doesn't give me the little icon. So, like, I know these are probably gale winds. Yep, gale warnings going all along the Gulf Coast in, from North Carolina all the way into Louisiana. Along the coastline, gale warnings. Up in North Carolina, along the coastline, you guys have a severe storm warning. And that's up to New Jersey, then starting around Connecticut area. You guys have gale watches along Massachusetts area, severe storm watch, moderate heavy freezing spray warning. And wow. All right, I guess we'll just work our way out. South Florida, you guys have a moderate cold weather advisory and moderate freeze warning. Central and North, you guys have a severe extreme cold warning. And that moderate freeze warning continued. That same warning is found in Georgia. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. All right, but then also in Georgia, we're seeing a severe winter storm warning. And that's also in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. North Carolina, Central North Carolina, you guys have an extreme cold watch. Wind chills ranging from 0 to 9 degrees, or as low as 5 below, possible. Virginia, as low as 8 below for wind chill. Oh my gosh, and West Virginia, wind chill as low as 25 below. Pennsylvania, wind chill as low as 20 below. There's so many little icons all over the place. Central New York, you guys have a moderate cold weather advisory. Different icon. Ohio, severe extreme cold warning. And Mississippi, severe extreme cold warning. We already talked about that. Moderate cold weather advisory over yonder. Oh, the yonder. I guess I'm now a yonder person. I say yonder now. Severe freeze watch in southern Texas. Guys, can you believe my toe? So now it's down to 1 toe. It's still healing. Still. In fact, you guys probably have forgotten because it's been months since I've probably even mentioned it. I'm just trying to bend it under. I try to stretch it out. This freaking thing. I did like the grandest stubbing of all time. I'm surprised that, anyway, I can bend them forward, but like, wait, no, I can't bend them forward. Bending them back is fine. They're healing slowly, though. That's all I care about. Severe freeze watch. And I can walk normally, so that's important. Because, you know, if you have a slightly off walk, it can actually result in a lot of health implications. It's kind of crazy. Because if you walk slightly off, your gait is off, which actually results in your hips being off, which results in your spine being off, which can result in your overall posture up here, and then your tongue placement, and it can make you ugly over time, because then if your tongue isn't placed right, your jaw can start to be misshapen, and your nose can get bigger, and your jaw can go back in your face, and you're going to be a mouth breather and it's crazy how everything's connected. I just laid a lot of stuff down for you, didn't I? Moderate winter weather advisory, South Dakota and North Dakota and eastern North Dakota. Moderate winter weather advisory. Same with northern Minnesota. Eastern Montana. Ooh, what is this? Air stagnation warning? Yep, Idaho air stagnation. Central Washington, you guys have fog. Dense fog. Northern Montana, severe high wind warning, and central and south. Random, sporadic. Fog warning, still in central California. I'm starting to wonder if this will just be here forever, because it's been here for months. Months. This doesn't go away. And don't forget, this is the exact area that the ancient lake is present. In fact, the San Francisco Bay is man-made. Why? If you don't recall, if you're new, there's a whole video on this that I showed. Interesting stuff. But this whole area was like one of the biggest lakes in the country. In fact, it's even bigger than this fog area, but it's this general same shape. And yeah, they started to drain it. So they had these canals going out to the ocean to try to drain it. And the farmers wanted to like take advantage of the water. So they started like putting their farms in this area. And the lake was getting smaller. And the farms that were closest to it were like taking advantage of it. And the farms up north were getting all mad because they were like, leave us some of the water. And but then they ended up drying it out. But it always wants to come back. It always wants to come back. This was like, the San Francisco Bay here was like a canal that just like went crazy. Got way bigger than it was ever intended on being. But all these houses could have been lakefront right here. All this. Yeah. Sneaker waves? These sneaker waves? What are these? What the heck? Oh, beach hazard statements. Rip currents with breaking waves. Sneaker waves. Yeah, stay away from the water. Ooh. It's like the tornado of oceans. I know there's like water spouts, whatever. But sneaker waves, you're walking on the beach, you think everything's fine, beautiful day. Then all of a sudden a 25-foot wave comes and takes you and kills your whole family. It's happened many times. Terrifying. It's funny, I grew up on the beach in Florida. We didn't really get any waves. Never seen a sneaker wave warning over there. That's from the cyclone, tropical cyclone. Yeah, guys, this area, this has extreme coastal event warning. There's a major storm here, and I'm blind. I cannot see it. These freaking people. I gotta do a post about it. Extreme heat. Extreme heat. Gotta do a post about it. Take your shower first. Take your freaking shower first. If you don't do it, you're not gonna take your shower. You keep prioritizing videos over bathing. All right, here's that. Category 1. It's so interesting how these storms on this side of the world, it's like they increase in severity as they get closer to land. It's the opposite of anything. It's not, that shouldn't happen. I mean, I don't know. This is category 1, overland. Not too long ago, it was a tropical storm, or tropical, even tropical depression. It was very upset. You got this one. What is this? Unable to retrieve data. Yeah, what is that thing? Why is it over there? Unable to receive. Oh, okay. 18P tropical depression. 98P tropical depression. Oh, it's gone now. Okay. Okay, well, that's weird. I just reloaded it, and now there's only 99P. Whoa. Tropical depression. And then this guy is now... What? Okay, so this is the testing version. It is making some mistakes. This is a category 3 now. Overland. What? Now it says category 1. Okay. Guys, I probably should back out of this beta version. Category 1. So I guess it was just a category 3. This is all that dust. It's the reason we don't have any storms, pretty much, because most of our hurricanes come out of this area, and there's been a lot of dust. When there's a ton of particulate, it can actually suppress storms, which is why chemtrails can actually be used to stop storms. It's a balance. There's a lot of dust over here, and I don't know what's going on over here. There's something going on over here. The AQI is really bad. There's a lot of dust, and in this exact spot, we've seen it numerous times. Yes, I'm sure there's a desert, but actually, is there? I don't know. Where's the satellite? What kind of satellite is this? Oh, there's an outage of data. I don't believe that. Wait, is there though? Let's reload. Yeah, I guess there is. Also, this area is under an extreme fire danger warning. And by the way, do you notice this spot here? Is that a lake? I don't know. This is why I want to look at the satellite, but it's saying that it doesn't have access to that right now, and it's not really the most important information at this moment. But you didn't have to cut me off. AQI. Horrendous. Right here. Oh my gosh. Terrible. AQI here. Not so bad. Good job, California. I mean, anything over 30, I don't consider good, but this is far better than what it's been. This area has just been unusually bad. This whole center area, it's starting to finally split off, and the wind is pushing it into the Gulf. It was all corralling right here in the center for a little while there. Oh, wow, they put little... Have these icons always been here? Got little volcano, 03. I don't think those were there. Maybe they were. Are there fires here? What's that? Could be fires. Not seeing any smoke, though. Looks like there's smoke down here and here. Cuba's been on fire, which is not a good thing. We don't want people to burn. That's the Saharan dust. Probably pollution. Maybe also dust. Probably pollution. I don't know. Fires. Probably not. Pressure. Our whole country's been under high pressure for a while. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling like you're under pressure? Under pressure. Ding, 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 ding. Under pressure. Ice, ice, baby. This doesn't show the whole world. It only shows Alaska, Canada, continental U.S., Mexico. Smoke, not the source, though. I won't see any fire dots anywhere here, but this whole place is just constantly on fire, or there's just smoke that comes out of here nonstop from factories or something. I don't know. There's always a crazy amount of smoke coming out of here. Disgusting. Earthquakes. Ding, 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 ding. New York. What is going on over there? Oh, and as a reminder for those of you who are new, I need to click on a different browser. There we go. For those of you who are new and don't know, the U.S. has the most advanced earthquake detection system on the planet. We can detect down to like 0.1 magnitude. Other countries, I think, can only see down to 3. Maybe 1. Like, we got 1.7s. Whoa. I keep forgetting that on this browser, the zoom in is very intense. All right, like here's a weeny teeny. That's a 0.7. We can even detect quakes down to drilling or quarry blasts, which they represent with diamonds. Explosion. Explosion. Come on, stop. And listen. I got a 4.2. All right, what else? Do we see anything weird? That's a big one. I think I said that yesterday. Quiet. Or we just don't have the data. 5.0. Then again, it probably just was quiet because every country would handle their stuff differently. Didn't have to cut me off. All right, bird migration. That's the last we can see? Okay, I reloaded. You can see more. If you find a single one pointing south, it'll be a first time. Nope. All right, let's check out yesterday's. At best, I'll see them horizontal. Nope. Crazy. I only see them flying north. All right. States of emergencies declared in southeast ahead of significant nor'easter impacts along east coast. Just as everyone's finally breaking free from the ice. Actually, not even. There's still crazy amount of ice. We're still seeing the videos.
Today is the day that we watch this powerful nor'easter begin to develop. We're going to have snow break out through parts of the mid-Atlantic later this afternoon into the evening. And it could play out similar to what we saw in Roanoke, Virginia, with those plows and crews back on the roads. Things happen fast. The pattern that we're in, a stormy one, at least for the eastern seaboard. As a result, we'll talk more about it. Winter weather alerts have expanded overnight with now all of North Carolina, a good chunk of South Carolina, even Atlanta, Georgia, now under a winter storm warning. But it's not just inland. It's the coast. And arguably, the coast is going to take the brunt of this nor'easter. A blizzard could very well develop for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And anytime that we talk blizzard, we have to reference the winds. Tropical storm force winds are possible for the Carolina coastlines, even into coastal Virginia and the Tidewater as we head into the weekend. It's going to be a rough next couple of days with this weekend nor'easter. If there's any good news, I guess it's the fact that it's the weekend. But as far as disruptions, I wouldn't be surprised if come Monday we have some issues and classes which will be called. Obviously, we'll see how things play out in South Carolina, in Atlanta, Georgia, which is under that winter storm warning, or North Carolina and Virginia. But overall, this low is going to strengthen in the Atlantic. And as it does, it's going to gain some latitude. And with that, the possibility exists that maybe in extreme southern portions of Jersey, we see a little bit of snow. Not going to be much in the way of accumulations, but we got to follow this low. Don't be surprised if some flakes try to fly, even on Long Island. But as this thing lifts farther to the north and it gets closer to New England, it will also be moving away from New England. So the Cape with snow and significant snow, yeah, possibility, but we'll dive in to the totals. You see how this swath of snow is from really the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and you notice how, Bane, you've got that patch 5 to 8 inches just off the water, but then the farther north you head into the Maritimes of Canada, that thing really begins to crank. But this is a snow for the Carolinas.
Yes, this is the big impact that we'll see a little bit farther south in the I-95 corridor.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's okay. I think the I-95 corridor is okay without seeing some snow. We got enough of it. Carolinas, you know, we could see a good 5 to 8 inches in some spots, maybe not everywhere, but isolated spots could see a really good big snowmaker. On top of that, too, I mean, we've been talking about it all morning long. It's going to be the winds.
Yeah.
So that low pressure system, it is going to be strong. It's going to be impactful. So we could really see some gusty conditions. It's going to be cold. So those wind chills are going to be intense. And as well, on top of this, the coastal impact is going to be out there, too. So we could be having some trouble with the tides.
Yeah, as this system departs, I mean, those wind chills, as a result, we already have extreme cold watches in effect for a good chunk of the mid-Atlantic. So we'll dive into those details too. But yeah, a powerful storm developing today.
Yeah, winter weather alerts have already been issued from Virginia to South Carolina too. This coastal storm will drop heavy snow over the Carolinas like we've been talking about, but we could see up to a foot of snow in some spots. That can't be ruled out quite yet. As of right now, things are quiet. But as we move throughout the rest of this afternoon, things are going to change. We'll start to see some of that lighter snow accumulations throughout the Carolinas. Right now, we are looking at some snow into the western parts of Virginia, as well as over into Kentucky. Not necessarily part of the same system, but we do have that energy that's going to be moving on through as we get into the later half of the day. Probably most likely seeing more of that snow later on tonight. But the big impact, that's going to be into tomorrow, and it's going to stick around for the majority of tomorrow. Snow and wind starting on Saturday as that low pressure continues to lift up towards the north. So we'll see some pretty large snow bands, or what should I say, snow ratios are going to be on the higher end as we continue to move throughout the next couple of hours, especially Saturday, and even continuing into Sunday here too, Stephen. These winter weather alerts are in place through Sunday, and it now does include Atlanta in that winter storm warning. I mean, this is a very populated city. Even a couple inches of snow, it's going to cause some serious problems.
A bit more of a painstaking forecast for a city like Atlanta, right? Because you have so many people within the city limits, and even the National Weather Service, the Peachtree office, talking about that potential. And when you get closer to the event, your confidence goes up, and it does look like actually beginning in about 12 hours. I think we're within that range where the snow is going to start in northern Georgia. We're going to see the snow through eastern Tennessee as that system develops. I know we're so focused on what the coast is going to produce and perform, but that snow will have some inland reach.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty widespread, too, in some spots. I mean, we could even see a little bit of that upslope snow also impacting parts of eastern Tennessee, too. So, I mean, we're talking a good foot of snow in some spots close to Knoxville. So that'll be interesting, too. We don't want to leave them out. But, of course, the coast is going to be interesting because even though we have a little bit of that drier air kind of trying to spill in from the north, so some of these snow ratios may be a little bit off, we could still see a good 3 to 5 inches widespread, a little bit more inland, and then closer to the coast, we could see some pretty big snow totals here.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not as if we've got something super organized for Atlanta to get the snow. It's just a matter of that Arctic high settling in, and you get some converging winds, and you start to see that snow break out. The organized stuff is what really is going to paint much of North Carolina, maybe a shade of blue or pink, depending on how much snow we're going to get. The pink being maybe a half a foot or so.
Yeah.
That's some sleet that we might be dealing with. I think it's one of the reasons why we still have in Charleston those winter storm watches, trying to figure out, do we issue the winter weather advisory or do we go ahead and issue a winter storm warning?
Right. It's kind of in between that moment there. It's right over here, like that one little corner of South Carolina that's still under those watches. But I mean,
Yep. Interesting. So there's a weatherman Europe. So he does talk about Europe in general. I've never seen this guy before, but I was just trying to see if we can see anything going on.
Or Friday, but Saturday, that moisture swinging into the Balkans. Saturday into Sunday, it's going to be active as we work our way into the Balkans. We'll look at some of that snow. Look at Bulgaria, some of the snow, Greece, some of the snow and rain. And then here we go as we work our way into Sunday night and Monday. This right here is your heads up. We're going to take you to other locations as well. But Sunday night into Monday morning, especially the first half, really through the day on Monday. Another impactful system moving in, maybe not necessarily as strong as the last one, but what we're going to see is more heavy weather working in France, Portugal, and again back through Spain. So this is your heads up. Yes, on Friday, we're going to have some active weather. Saturday, a bit of a break. But late on Sunday into early Monday, a better chance of rain and some high winds once again working in. So I appreciate you sharing this information with others. Now we swing to the north. Here's that little spin I mentioned as we get back through the channel, swinging forward here into our Saturday, Friday into Saturday. What we're watching out for Ireland in particular. We're going to see this up and around pattern. Iceland, I'll expand out on this video. I do appreciate your patience. I just want to cover where some of the most aggressive weather is as we go forward. Here's Sunday, but then we're watching this. This is a piece of what's going to impact the Iberian Peninsula and France. So we could see here pivoting its way back toward Ireland, clipping by Wales. Here's France again as we work our way into Monday. So heads up. This is the heads up. Ireland in particular, across other sections of the UK, but more so back toward Wales. And then we're watching over toward Ireland for some of the heavier rain, some of the winds clipping by Northern Ireland. We'll keep an eye on Scotland, but there it is. Here's your heads up. Also parts of France for some heavier weather as we work our way into Monday. Here's the broad picture covering everyone. I mentioned the Balkans, Italy, watching the islands, keeping an eye on Cyprus, Malta. Some of this clipping northern sections of Africa. We've got a lot of viewers from this channel that have joined Mr. Weatherman Europe from Africa. I do appreciate that. There's that pocket we're watching right in here. Here's Turkey. I mentioned Bulgaria, some of that snow. And then we're seeing this spin up here. Here's Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, the Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark. Not a lot of activity. As I mentioned 2 to 3 weeks ago, it is this sector here, in this sector and through here, exactly where we have the heavier weather. This is Monday, and you can see it moving in Ireland, clipping Wales, France, Portugal, Spain, and then in additional videos as you're...
Yeah, so it's a big storm, and I'm not seeing, actually, I might have a way. I'm going to check out my backup satellite. All right, here we go. I do have a view. It doesn't move. This is the most recent timestamp. I'm not a huge fan of this filter. It looks similar. It's not the same. Like, this is good. The green stuff, something weird about both of these. But obviously, hello, we have trails. Trail, which is not a surprise. This area usually has trails. But we're going to have to check in here and see if anything extra abnormal is happening. Because the normal feed is down, and that only happens before very unusual weather events. And I'm not just saying that, that's just the fact. All year, that's what's happened. Trail. There's trails in here. They're not as clear with these filters. What? Seriously, that's the best resolution you've got? That's weird. Trail. All right, guys. Hope you have a good day or night. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining.